It's not yet 7 o'clock, but I just want to make sure all things internet are up and running smoothly this morning. Trying a different setup with my audio. Let's see, are we live? Maybe we're not. Okay, I'm going to go chat overlay. Or do we want to do... Hey, good morning. We're live. It's 7:01 in Templeton, and I am just experimenting with this live stream software as we jump into Thursday morning. Excuse me, clearing the throat, dusting off the cobwebs out of the throat, and yeah, getting the day started. Hope everyone is having a great morning so far. It is March 11th, and it's overcast outside and a little chilly this morning. The highs are going to be, oh God, up to today, cloudy, partly cloudy all day with highs to 53 around town. Around 2 p.m. is where we're going to peak at 53 degrees, 45% chance of rain all day. Actually, working up to about 45% by midday. So Thursday, March 11th, who would have thought that we are this close to a week where we are sending kids back to school? Yeah, that's typically an August or September thing, but we are doing it in March. All right, and we're gonna have Christmas in July or something. I don't know. So today we have a fun show, and it's a little different. We're gonna mix it up. It's not gonna be so heavily oriented on guests as much as it's gonna be um, just kind of a mixed bag. And so on Monday, what we did was we had Brent Poppin, who is a local motivational speaker, an author, a quadriplegic, a gentleman who I had the good pleasure of meeting a couple years ago. When I guess it wasn't the good pleasure, but I was glad to have met him. When my son got in an accident, he was working at Children's Hospital as a counselor and a support motivational speaker, and he introduced himself to us and our family, and we got to know him. And Brent's got an amazing story, and he's just a bright light in our community for spreading his message of hope and positivity. So Brent connected with us on Monday, but there was a bad connection. It was kind of a lighting situation going on, and then the sound was choppy because of the internet connection, probably on my end and his end. So we're gonna go take two with Brent this morning at 8:15. He's gonna be plugged in on a laptop and able to work through some of these technical issues a little better with us. So Brent's going to join us at 8:15. Mr. Mack, of course, as always, is going to be with us at 7:30. Mr. Mack's going to talk rodeo today. So high school rodeo, yeah, that's still a thing. We're still doing it. So high school rodeo is going to be the topic of discussion this morning, amongst other things, with Mr. Mack. And then I'm going to open up the floor, in a little bit here, for some public comment. And so figure we'll do some public comment. We'll do some trivia, maybe give away a wingman shirt, a wingmen. Is it a wingmen or a wingman? I think it's a wingmen shirt. We should probably call it wing people shirt. It's just a wing person shirt that the high school has that maybe I can get Mr. Mack to get one of them to us for a giveaway this morning. I'm going to play, I've got some Templeton trivia to play with you guys. That should be fun. And then I'm also going to overlay the chat here, boom, on the screen. Let's see. Yep. So you can actually plug your messages, your chat messages into the feed right now on YouTube or on Facebook, and it will actually show up right there on the screen. So yeah, we're just gonna we're experimenting a little. It's gonna show up right here on the screen. Just Thursday morning experiment, and I've got some glasses just in case I need them today. They're a little dirty. I'd never wear them, but I figured these early mornings doing a lot of reading and staring at the computer, probably not a bad idea to throw some glasses on now and again. So let's see what's going on out in the world today. Well, first I'll recap yesterday's show in case you missed it. Wednesday's show was jam-packed with just awesomeness. We had Coach Crow, everybody's favorite high school football coach, the winningest coach in Templeton. He was on with us, and he shared some of what he and his staff, and not only his staff, but most high school football programs in the state of California. He was sharing what they had gone through to get us to a point where the state and CIF gave us the green light to move forward with high school football. So a really interesting story. He spent countless hours with a few other coaches raising some money. And what I'll do is I'll post the interview on the social media so you guys can see the extended interview. But in a nutshell, Coach Crow and a handful of other football coaches in the state went and they raised a little money. They got some people behind them, and what they ended up doing was hiring a lobbyist, an actual lobbyist that really started to help them appeal to the state, and then that just kind of carried forward. They got some people on board with a little clout to get in the ear of the state capitol and the officials up there who were deciding whether or not it was safe to pursue or to continue with outdoor recreation football and whatnot. And so finally they made some headway after hiring this lobbyist, and it came down a few weeks ago that football was to resume. But the cool part about it was Coach Crow mentioned that since September, when they were legally able to start working out and meeting in small groups, or they call them pods, right? When they were doing these pods, when we were able to start with these pods, Coach Crow, Templeton's staff, they took full advantage of that and immediately started getting the kids together safely, obviously, temperature checks to make sure that our kids were working on the things that they needed to work on in the off season. They treated it like a preseason, and they stayed disciplined and to the course. And Coach Crow praised his seniors pretty heavily yesterday. The seniors that wanted this season so badly continued to work hard and push forward while they faced this adversity and the unknown. They just continued to persevere and be optimistic and hopeful and positive towards the opportunity to get back on that football field one last season. And so, it's going to show when they take that field, that these boys have done everything that they can in the off season in these conditions to just put themselves in the best position to compete. And so congratulations to the Templeton Eagle football team, who really hasn't even played it down yet this year. But that being said, they have carried on that winning attitude that we saw the last time they were on the field. And so really looking forward to some Eagles football. Coach Crow's interview went on to talk about what their line looks like this year. They've got a huge offensive line, and they are just lots of returning players. They're real tall, he says, so that's great. Got a running quarterback, of course, and he's back for his senior year, so that'll be fun to watch that front line and the run game for Templeton High School. So in addition to Coach Crow being on yesterday, we also had Mr. Asplund, the superintendent of schools, and the assistant superintendent of schools, Andy Burnett. They joined us as well, talked a little bit about the same thing, where we've been in the last 12 months, where we are currently, and where we're going. And so that's exciting to hear from the top, all of the challenges that they've faced, but the things that they did to counteract those challenges and move forward and push forward with a plan to get as many people as possible back into the classroom safely, children and staff alike. And so we're moving forward into the next phase of that on Monday, which is the first day officially of hybrid learning phase, where the kids are going to be going. A's are going to be going on Monday. B's are going to be going on Tuesday. Wednesday is a at-home learning day, distance learning, and then Thursday is A and Friday is B. And so they've basically split the school in half at the high school and are organizing it that way. And so the check-in process is going to be different. It's going to be something that's probably going to take some getting used to and take some time, but there's going to be temperature checks every day. There's going to be constant sanitizing going on. There's going to be social distancing happening, and there's going to be masks. They are taking other steps and precautions with the food situation at school. And so and then also there's some water stations that have been purchased and placed at the school as well, all with the intent of keeping these kids with their own personal water bottle. And I think it's a touchless water station that they just put their water bottle under, and it fills up, and then they can go on about their day. So all kinds of different things happening at the high school to make sure that these kids and the staff and the teachers, everybody is in the safest environment possible. And so I did get a notification too that we are going to be joined starting next week with Mrs. Argain from the elementary school, Templeton Elementary. So that's exciting. We're going to do a little segment with her called Motivation Mondays with Mrs. Argain. And so she is, if you've had any interaction with her at all, she is just a bundle of fire and a positive force of just radiating light. And so looking forward to having Mrs. Argain join us every Monday for Motivation Mondays. And so that's exciting. So Mr. Burnett and Mr. Asplund also will be joining us weekly to give us a district update. Yesterday was the first one. I'm going to spend some time chopping up those interviews today, and I didn't quite get to it yesterday, but I will today, and make sure that those are available on the Facebook page, so you guys can go back and listen to anything that you want. We also had Eric Lewis, Mr. Lewis, who is also a longtime educator, a faculty member, Templeton High School, former principal of the high school, back in the classroom now as a full-time government econ history teacher. And so Mr. Lewis shared some teaser of what we're going to get from him every week. I'm a huge history buff. I just absolutely love history. And so I thought it'd be fun to do like a little Wednesday, this day in history kind of mysteries of history segment with Mr. Lewis, just to get our brains, just thinking and absorbing good historical content. And so, yeah, he dropped two things on me yesterday that were interesting. One was there's some debate about Andrew Jackson actually being born in the United States. And so I'd never heard that theory before, but so he, I think, is going to deep dive that one with us in the coming weeks. And so, and the second one was talking about World War I. And so he's going to just, this isn't your grandfather's live stream. I know we're gonna keep it relevant and hip and fun, exciting. But again, I love history, and so I'm excited to learn some things that I didn't know from Mr. Lewis on Wednesdays. Who else did we have on? Mr. Mack, always doing a daily update with us. Mr. Mack is the activities director at Templeton High School, and he is also the ASB advisor. He shared with us that there's going to be an incoming freshman orientation type day that's going to allow the students the opportunity to see what kinds of classes and electives that they could sign up for next year. I remember as my daughter was an incoming freshman, we actually sat in the gymnasium. We were at a little school outside of the district, but we were coming into Templeton. And so we came into this big gymnasium and saw 30 tables, maybe more, wrapped around the entire gymnasium with students and teachers sitting behind the tables with lots of information to share with everyone. And so that was cool. That was our first exposure to all of the great programs and clubs and electives that were available to the students at Templeton. And so they're going to do some type of that this year here next Tuesday, I believe he said it is. And we'll clarify that with him again, but I think it's next Tuesday and I believe it's online. So, or some kind of socially distanced setup, but I probably should have listened a little better or taken notes. So we'll have to clarify that with him. And then Coach Crow, again, we had him on yesterday talking about football, but we're going to have him on every Wednesday. Trying to think of a name that we're going to call his segment. I mean, it's the obvious is like the crow's nest or straight from the crow's beak, or that's not obvious, but I just made that one up. Or like Crow's Corner or Coach Crow's Corner. I don't know. If you have any ideas of what we can name Coach Crow's segment, the Eagles, Crow's Eagles or something, drop a note here in the comments and it'll show up on the right side of the screen and everybody can see them. So Coach Crow, Wednesdays, he will be joining us. Who else is going to be? Yeah, so far what we've done is we've put together a weekly lineup list. If you haven't watched any of the streams yet, I'll just kind of give you a rundown. Every day we're going to be checking in with some officials, whether they're from the community, community service district or police, fire, public servants, those types of people in the community. Melissa Johnson is the Parks and Recreation Department spokesperson. So she'll be joining us on Fridays to give us information about the city Parks and Rec Department and all the activities that they have going on and the volunteer opportunities and all of those types of things. Also, school administrators are going to be on. Mr. Aston, the high school principal, was on Tuesday. He's going to be on with us every Tuesday. And then ASB presidents, Abby Brady and Presley Bodenschott from Paso Robles. Abby's from Templeton, Presley's from Paso. They're going to be on every Monday and checking in with us from the students' perspective. And then Joe Farley is the athletic director for Templeton High School. He's going to be checking in with us from giving us the latest and greatest guidelines and official news from the athletic director of Templeton High School. So lots of fun weekly segments happening. I did get in touch yesterday, thankfully, through Melissa Johnson. She connected with me with the head of the Historical Society in Templeton. So that's going to be fun to get to know that society and what they're all about. Learn some more history of Templeton, which, by the way, might play a game today. I think I advertised. What time did I advertise we're going to do trivia? Let's see here. Oh, I said 7:15. I'm 4 minutes late. Giveaway game. Okay, well, let's do a giveaway game. You know, we're gonna push that. Let's push the giveaway game because I want to spend a little time on it, and Mr. Mac's gonna come here at 7:30 and join us. And so, uh, anyways, I was talking about all of the cool, fun things. Historical Society is going to get in touch with us. We also have a connection with the new owner of AJ Spurs, the building across the street from Jack's, the restaurant that's been in town for years. And fun fact about me in high school or growing up here in Paso, I never went to Templeton. Like, we just did not get on the freeway to go south of Paso for anything, which was interesting. Well, you think about it, like the movie theater, there was a drive-in theater on Theater Drive, obviously, and that was still there back then. Target wasn't over here or over on that side of town yet. There was nothing for a Paso kid to go to Templeton for. But on the rare occasion where I did receive a good grade or praise from a school administrator, or was acting out of my norm, my reward was the family would take me to a really fancy restaurant called AJ Spurs. And so AJ Spurs was somewhere we went probably once a year. I had my rehearsal dinner. My wife and I had our rehearsal dinner at AJ Spurs. So that was fun, and not so memorable, but it was fun. And then, yeah, so AJ's, that building's been around for a while. We've through the Historical Society's contact through Melissa Johnson, we were able to get a name and a possible hookup with the new owner of that building. So we may be able to get them on the show next week to talk about what's happening there, what we can expect to see out of that building in the future, and their plans for it. So that's exciting. The old building coming back to life. Some announcements. Let's see here. Templeton High School class of 2021 Senior Activities Committee has a storefront to order See's Candies. Okay, so this storefront, it's a fundraiser, right? And the store's open until 3/19, and basically it says it's a fundraiser for senior activities, for prom activities, grad night trip, etc. And Christina Ames is the contact for that. Let's see if I can post that See's Candy link in the chat. Let me just work here. See's Candy Ames. Where did she put that? Actually, she posted it yesterday on the feed. So let me look back on the feed from yesterday. This is riveting. I know, me scrolling through my feed live while you guys watch. Yes. Okay, we're getting there. We're getting there. Boom, here it is. Okay, I am going to copy and paste this onto this morning's feed. Let's see if it shows up. And there it is on my screen. So that is the feed for See's Candies. Excuse me. And let's see here. I lost it. I just lost it. Anyways, it's up on the screen now. So you've got it there, and we are off to the races with more fundraisers to help out the senior class. I got to fix my microphone, don't I? It seems to be falling on me. All right. And then we also have here, what else is going on today? City of Atascadero. I know. We don't really like to talk about Greyhounds here, but just it's something that's a community thing. So I just want to announce it. City of Atascadero is hosting a virtual meeting tonight at 6 to discuss and study affordable housing and ways they can improve to meet the state standards. For more information, go to Facebook and search out Virtual Affordable Housing Study Session, or go to atascadero.org. So City of Atascadero doing what they can to figure out how to make affordable housing more accessible. So that's great. Here's another reminder. The San Luis Obispo International Film Fest is still ongoing online right now. It runs through the 14th of the month. It's slowfilmfest.org. And so you can Google that and watch some international films there. So tonight there's a workshop called Photography Star Trails Workshop. It's a Zoom meeting with an in-person, on-location final meeting here in a few weeks at Centennial Park. But this is a workshop for people to learn how to take pictures of the stars and do some photo editing. And so all you need is a DSLR camera, which is a really fancy camera, photo editing software, a tripod, and a laptop. So I love taking photographs, but I'm terrible at it. But if I had time, that's definitely something that I would want to participate in. So search Facebook events for that. It's a online class tonight, brought to you by Sharon West. Photographer Sharon West at gmail.com. If you're interested, you can DM me and I will put a link to that on the page as well. So what else? Continuing down at Madonna Inn, Circus Vargas Trapeze Extravaganza. Every day that thing happens there. So if you're interested in becoming a trapeze artist or watching trapeze artists, go down to Madonna Inn or look for it online. It's the Circus Vargas Trapeze Experience. There's a Parks PE at Hearst Castle. So if you have a 2nd through 6th grader, or even if you want to do it yourself, if you want to have a virtual PE class that is taught by somebody who works at the Parks Department at Hearst Castle, this is for you. This is super interesting. It's yeah. So this girl Laura is a Parks Department person at Hearst Castle. She does a Zoom PE class today at 11. It's free, and she does it with the backdrop of beautiful Hearst Castle. So that's cool. You'll enjoy PE with Park Guide Laura, host of Hearst Castle. And so you can find that in Facebook events as well. What else is going on? Okay, there's a jobs fair. If you are out of a job looking for something to do, Vespera on Ocean is a Marriott in Pismo Beach. Today at noon, they are hiring for front desk, house attendant, housekeepers, cooks, stewards, and a sales coordinator. So that's something that you can check out if you're interested. And then there's a community forum with Cal Poly. It's KPH Community Forum today online from 11 to noon, hosted by Cal Poly Department of Kinesiology and Public Health. It's a forum based on the documentary Picture a Scientist, and described as a great way to carry on the conversation about issues related to diversity, inclusion, equity, and it's a Zoom link on a Facebook page if you're interested in that, or you can DM me for more info. We've got a little time before Mr. Mac joins us. 5 minutes. Let's get some trivia questions going. Ben, are you on? You're the Templeton guru, man. I got a Templeton question. Let's see here. I'm gonna put the link. Let's see if I can do this. I am going to drop this link in the chat, and you can click on the link and join me on this live stream now and answer a trivia question. And Mr. Mac, I'm going to hold you to it. I'm gonna get one of the Wingmen shirts. Yeah, Ben, there's the link. Click on it. I got a trivia question for you. I've got Mr. Mac. I'm gonna have to convince him to give me a Wingman shirt for a prize for trivia. So the link for joining in trivia is there right now. Mr. Mac's early. He's popped in. Let's see if I can get him to join us. Hey, Mr. Mac, how are you?
Hey, I'm great. I was rushing over here today. I was afraid I was going to be late, and I didn't want to,
Well, do you need a little more time?
I'm good. Whatever you need.
Okay. Well, I just put the link to the live stream on our chat. I don't know if you can see. Somebody would pop on. Up a Wingman shirt as a prize. I forgot to tell you that part.
Oh, okay. There you go. I love it. Okay.
But you know, I mean, we can get to the trivia later. I've got some. This is okay. So it's a segment I'm going to call Templeton Trivia, the game where you can Google the answers and no one will know. Yeah, wow. That's the tagline. Yeah, I just came up with that.
I love it.
Yeah, so we'll do some of that this morning at some point when we have some downtime.
Yeah, let me grab a shirt and I'll show you what it looks like.
Oh yeah, please do. All right, so we're gonna Mr. Mac's gonna come back. We're gonna talk some high school rodeo with him today. We've got some special video things that we want to share that I haven't gotten ready yet. So let me pull those up. Let's see. All right, so let's see what those Wingman shirts look like.
Well, we got two colors.
Ooh.
Okay, there's our green, and you can see some of our proud sponsors. I'm not sure if I can do this right, but wow, there we go.
That's great.
Yeah. So, and we also have the white version, which looks very similar. Woo, sorry.
Oh, that's clean.
Yeah, yeah. And again, you can't buy these anywhere. You gotta win it. You gotta earn it.
So can you tell me, was it a student or somebody like a graphic artist who designed those shirts?
Yeah, that's Josh Kaiser. Josh Kaiser
awesome.
designed it. Yeah, he's a senior this year, kind of one of the leaders of the Wingmen, super spirited and a great basketball player. So looking forward to hopefully getting him back on the court for his senior year.
Awesome. Yeah, Josh is a great kid. He's got a really good positive spirit about him, doesn't he?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm excited to see them play some basketball, and I like that design. That's really it's very now.
Yes, it is.
So that'll actually look really good on the live stream when I'm wearing it on Fridays, on game days.
I love it. I love it. We can make that happen for you. What size do I need to get you? I know you've been working out again.
Well, I'm a large currently, so I need to get back down to a medium, but
green or white?
I like the white one.
Okay.
Yeah, the white one's nice.
We'll make that happen for you. Hey, and speaking of merchandise, I was wondering, at some point I need to replace this and you need to replace that with a Morning Buzz coffee mug.
That was almost like we timed it perfectly for that, right? Yeah, we need Morning Buzz coffee mugs. That'd be kind of cool. Baby steps.
There's probably somebody out there who designs those, who would like to say, you know what, I want to get my work out there on the Morning Buzz.
I just want to have it live stream that doesn't crash on me for a full show. Like, can we start with that?
Are we good so far? Have you any crashing yet?
So far so good on my end. So that's good news.
Awesome.
Which means the kids in the house are probably sleeping right now.
That's right.
Or at practice. So 0 period. So all right. So we've been really excited about talking about high school rodeo for a couple of days, and we wanted to make sure that you had enough time to do that. And so I've got literally the next 45 minutes tagged for all things Templeton High School activities. I'm going to show some videos, a game day video that was produced last year by your group. I guess it was last year. It was in 2019.
Right. Toward the end in December, maybe November.
Yeah. So I want to show that game day video. And the newest video that has been put out about the word respect, which is interesting. And, I don't know if you want to dive into that this morning when we go into that video, but you can kind of give us an intro about that. But let's talk rodeo first. I'm super pumped about the rodeo stuff.
Yeah. Hey, we've got a high school rodeo team, and you talk about tough kids, man alive. Those guys, they do some crazy things. I got a list of events they do. And Mike, I don't know if you know all these, but but some of them just kind of describe, just the word themselves kind of describes what they do. So we have barrel racing, pole bending, goat tying, breakaway roping, team roping, tie down roping, steer wrestling. Just think about that for a second. Steer wrestling. I'm not sure those two words should actually go together, but if they do, you better be one tough kid that's going to do that.
So Katie Simonin, the FFA secretary, told me what a steer was when we had her on this week. So now I know what you're talking about.
Excellent. That could be a trivia question. Cutting, bull riding, saddle bronc riding, and bareback riding. Okay, those are some crazy events. And Mike, if you're able to show that video at some point.
Yeah, none of those events sound like anything I want to be a part of.
Right. Oh, you're going to show right now.
Hold on. I don't know if we're going to get in trouble for playing this music, but
no way.
We'll just go with it.
No way. So you're seeing some of the events, and this is actually from last year. Footage from last year at Madonna Inn Rodeo. So check out some of our kids.
It's a fancy broadcast. We're able to do this, right?
I mean, we are just rolling.
So, okay, Lacey Lewis. Who put this together?
Well, I put it together, but it couldn't have happened without the parents, sending in video clips and stuff like that.
Yeah, there's Harrison.
Yeah.
And these are all great kids, by the way.
Yeah.
Well, except Harrison, but everyone else. No, Harrison's a great kid.
Great.
All right.
Sammy Massey.
There's goat tying like you were talking about.
Yep. I think I'd rather do this. This doesn't look easy, but I'd rather do this than steer wrestling.
I want none of it. All right, Blaine.
Healing. Guess which part of the animal they're trying that he's trying to catch right here, if he's a healer.
The heels.
Way to go, man. You know everything about rodeo.
Willow.
There's Bandy.
Smith.
Bandy's also on our cross-country team.
I grew up with Bandy's dad.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this is a great video. So where do these videos live?
They're on our YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to put that link up. Let me see here.
We got hundreds of videos on our YouTube channel. So, Mike, while people are watching this, here's the people who are on our team this year. Some of them are the ones you're watching, but some of them have graduated and moved on. So our current rodeo contestants are Sammy Massey, who you've seen on here, Bandy Smith, Lacey Lewis, Caden Javati, Harrison Aradri, Dakota Torgerson, Lane Miller, and Cameron Warner. That's our current team that's competing right now. They've had 4 rodeos this year, and they have one coming up this weekend. Let me make sure where that's at. Let's see. Sorry, should have had this right off the top of my head, but I don't want to say the wrong place. Shoot. Okay, I'll have to come back to that. King City this weekend.
Oh, got it.
And it's the 5th rodeo of the year. We've got 2 seniors, Sammy Massey and Bandy Smith, and we want to give them a shout out. Here's a little bit about them, Mike. Sammy has competed in high school rodeo all 4 years of high school.
Okay.
Her favorite experience, she will tell you, was competing at the high school national finals rodeo in Rock Springs, Wyoming, her sophomore year.
Really?
She was able to meet and compete against kids from so many different places. Her favorite rodeo event is breakaway roping. After high school, she's committed to attending Cal Poly as an ag science major, where she'll continue to rodeo at college rodeos. Her favorite thing about THS is the people she has met. She's made many lifelong friends at Templeton High School and through rodeo. Our other senior is Bandy Smith, super nice guy, as all the rodeo kids are. Bandy has competed in high school rodeo, again, all 4 years of his high school. Favorite rodeo event is team roping, heeling in particular, which you already showed a great knowledge of. After high school, he plans on attending Cuesta and competing in college rodeo. He's enjoyed all of his classes at Templeton, saying that a mix of good teachers and friends has made each class the best experience it could. And let me see if here's a little bit about how they move on. So there's 9 high school rodeos throughout the school year. The people participating earn points to qualify for state rodeo finals that are held in June. And it's the top 6 contestants from each event in each district. We're District 7. Each district, man, I should win a shirt for just knowing we're District 7, because that's something. District 7, and they'll move on to the state finals if you're in the top 6. And then I told you the events. And then at the state level, the state rodeo finals is in Bishop.
Wow.
And at the state level, the top 3 qualifiers in each event move on to compete at the national finals. And those this year, if we send somebody like we were blessed to send Sammy her sophomore year, national finals are in Lincoln, Nebraska in July. So we are hoping that our kids, they're getting points and they're kind of moving up the rankings and stuff. We are hoping that after we're finished with our regular rodeo season, that we will be able to send some to the state, and then hopefully we'll get some people to nationals this year.
Am I choppy right now? Am I breaking up?
No, you're good.
Okay, good. How long is that from Templeton to Lincoln towing a horse trailer? Is that like a 2-day trip or a 3-day trip?
It's got to be longer than you would hope it would be.
Right.
Yeah. But the people that are involved, I mean, you've got to be totally committed.
Sure.
Because just like you said, we got football players that are carrying their pads places, and we got, tennis players that are carrying their racket. But when you're moving horses and you're moving them all over the state, that takes commitment. And then just the constantly riding and all that kind of stuff, all the practice that goes in, they're committed. And when you were watching those highlights, I mean, jumping off a horse and then going to an animal and trying to put it down or, tie it or, and some of those are team things where you're working with a partner, what commitment it takes and physical strength. Some of those things are even their strategy, there's a whole bunch. And with all those moving parts, doing anything on top of a huge animal moving can't be easy.
And what's interesting, what's really cool about the culture of rodeo is it's such a family-oriented activity. Yeah. It's a generational activity that's passed down, no matter what your skill level is, it's a very helpful community, right? They are there to help other people get better, even the people you're competing against. And so it's a fun atmosphere to be involved in. And I wouldn't know personally because I was not in rodeo, but having friends of rodeo and in that area, it's a lot of good camaraderie and team spirit. So
I can see you, Mike. I can actually picture you participating in the rodeo. I'm thinking rodeo clown. I can see you being one of those guys that's like trying to distract the bull and then you jumping in the barrel when the bull's coming.
Those guys are really athletic.
Absolutely.
So maybe in a couple more years after training a little harder, I might be able to do. Actually, that'd be a cool fundraiser, right?
Ooh.
How long can I stay in the arena with a bull, and then every second that goes by, we raise more money and more money. I don't know.
I love it.
It's a little dangerous, I guess, but
with all the proceeds going to Templeton Rodeo.
Yeah, that'd be fun, right?
That would be great.
Yeah, that'd be cool. All right, so I'll put that on a list of things to not do.
Hey, I just want to give a shout out to Amy Lewis because, of course, she is the mom of Ashley and Lacey Lewis, who are great rodeo people. Ashley moved on to Cal Poly Rodeo, which is awesome. And Lacey's still riding with us, but Amy has been a great connection to be able to get videos and keep me in the loop with between the parents and being able to post things about rodeo. So shout out to Amy Lewis.
Side note about Amy, we exchanged texts yesterday, and she is going to at some point come on to promote and talk about the Culture Initiative, which she's also a part of. So
yeah,
we're going to have her on here in the next week or so.
And she can correct everything we said wrong about rodeo.
Right. And right. Culture Initiative. Yeah.
But it is District 7. I do know that it's District 7. And I do know that Sammy and Bandy are both seniors. So we're going to hold tight with that. And then hopefully, I mean, if she joins you next week, she can tell you all about how they did at King City.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. We can do we'll call it a rodeo roundup.
Oh, I like
rodeo roundup recap.
Yeah, and just, you know, another thing, shout out to our rodeo team and our competitors, because those guys, you know, we have some big name sports that you know, that we play on campus, you know, like football or whatever. Those are huge, and those are great to watch. And just like you were saying, family environment, and come on out, and those are great. But we have other sports that maybe don't get as much recognition for a variety of reasons. Maybe people don't understand them, or they don't do them locally here or whatever. But they are great to watch. So cross country, swim, golf, rodeo, you know, they put in as much time as any of the other sports, maybe even more on some of them. And so
here's a question I should know the answer to. Where does our swim team compete and practice locally?
Yeah, if we keep getting rains like we've been having, they can do it on the field or whatever. Just kidding. Yeah, they, in years past, and I believe this year as well, because they have started practice, they practice at Kennedy, at the Kennedy Pool, Kennedy Club.
Got it.
Yeah, it's too bad we don't have a pool, because a couple years ago, we had the league champion. Gosh, I wish I could remember which sport she did. Anyways, we have a great swim team, and to be able to do that without having your own pool is something. Again,
I was going to make a joke about how our school district should put a lot of money into a pool, but that's a sore subject around here, so I won't.
Yeah, maybe too early.
Exactly.
But we might be able to pick one up cheap,
right,
from somewhere else.
Hey-o. True. Oh, hey, let's keep it positive, huh?
Absolutely. This is positive.
Yeah. All right. So speaking of positive, let's talk about respect.
Yeah. So Dr. Hodgson, the principal out at Vineyard, she does a great job out there. And she has been stressing different like keywords to the Vineyard student body. And a couple months ago, she asked if our ASB would be willing to come up with a way of connecting with our 3rd, 4th, and 5th graders out of Vineyard. And so we met, and she came up with the idea of us trying to encourage the Vineyard kids in different character traits. So this month's, actually last month's, because we do it at the end of the month, and then they show it. So they showed it the first week of March, looking back on February. So it was on respect, and I had my students. They came up with, for this particular video, an acronym with each letter of respect standing for a different part of what it means to be a respectful person. And then at the end of the video, each of the classrooms, so like Mr. Condell's 5th grade class, let's say, he would nominate a student that has really already been living out that character trait of being respectful. So at the end of the video, we do a shout out, and the kids don't know, who's been selected as that like respectful person. So they're waiting for the end of the video to hear who got nominated. So that's kind of the point of it. The one before, we did responsibility, and we had a variety of high school students explain what it meant to be responsible in a variety of ways. Excuse me. So like one of our students talked about responsibility on the job, and they were wearing their Trader Joe's outfit, uniform, if you want to call it a uniform. And then we had an athlete, and we had what else? A club leader. And each one of them talked about, being a responsible employee, being a responsible player, being a responsible whatever. This is what it looks like. So that's what the first 2 months have been.
You know what the best part? Well, here's what, if anything, comes out of me doing this live stream morning show for the community. I hope what comes out of it is that there's a community-wide realization of how much we as a district do for our students and the administration and the staff. I mean, the stuff that you guys have going at the high school, at all levels, not just the high school, it's just great to hear about. And I just feel like, if I could do anything, it's just kind of put a spotlight on that for you guys, because it's amazing what you guys are doing. So kudos to you. I know it's all you.
There are a lot of people doing a lot of amazing things, and I'm just glad you have this show, because who would have known about our rodeo kids except just a small group or any of the people you bring on. Sure. It just brings light to all of the amazing things that are going on campus and things that we should be celebrating.
For sure. Well, let's watch the respect video. I'll throw it on here in the corner and see if it
Hey Eagles, we're back, and this month we're sharing with you about respect. In order to do this, my friends and I are going to share about 7 things that we feel all relate to respect, and each one starts with the first letter in the word respect. Believe me, if you are a respectful person, you will find that others will respect you more as well. Listen to what we came up with for each letter of the word respect.
The R in respect stands for role. If you're going to learn how to respect others, you have to know your role. If you're an athlete, you have to let the referee do their job. At home, you're the child, not the adult. At work, you're the employee, not the boss. Know your role and do your job and do it well.
The first E in respect stands for everyone. This reminds us that everyone is worthy and deserving of respect. Age, gender, race, religion, it shouldn't impact how you treat others. Everyone deserves to be respected.
The S in respect reminds us that to be respectful, we need to be self-controlled. We need to be in control of our emotions and things we say. Things won't always go your way, in school, at home, or in the game. You can't control everything. But what you can control is yourself. If you are going to be respectful, you need to be in control of yourself.
P stands for polite. Be the person who says please and thank you, who holds the door open for others, who helps others in need, and sees opportunities to help. Being polite is something that will really stand out about your character. It is a big part of showing respect.
The second E stands for earn. If you want others to think that you are a respectful person, you are going to have to earn that title. It is something that takes work. Like most things that are valuable, it is something that you have to sacrifice in order to achieve. But don't be afraid of the work it takes, because when you earn the reputation for being respectful, it will open up a lot of doors in the future.
C stands for caring. If you're going to be respectful, you're going to need to care about others and their feelings, not just your own. Respectful people don't judge others. They don't put themselves first. They not only work hard, but they care enough to go the extra mile to make others feel valuable and important, regardless of who they are.
The last letter is T, and it really sums up all of the other letters. T is for treat, and it reminds us to treat others the way you wish to be treated. By doing this, you will be doing all of the other letters my friends have just taught you. You may have heard this before as the golden rule. When in doubt, treat others the way you wish to be treated.
Great reminders for all of us. Thank you. All right, it's shout out time. This is when we recognize someone in each classroom who is already living these things out. Listen for your class.
In 3rd grade, we have Regan Vieira from Miss Hughes' class, Lily Sampson from Mr. O'Flynn's class, Eleanor Merrill from Mrs. Quinney's class, Anna Ogawara from Mrs. Moore's class, and finally Camilla Mendoza from Mrs. Drake's class. Congratulations.
In 4th grade, we have Tobin Berna from Mrs. Drake's class, Henry Hamilton from Mrs. Gearhart's class, Hayden Flores from Mrs. Ziegler's class, Madison Rao from Mr. Knuckles' class, Hunter Franchi from Mrs. Goforth's class, and Ryan Stevenson from Mrs. Diodati's class.
Hey Eagles, here are the respectful students chosen from the 5th grade. In Mrs. Goforth's class, Ricardo Diaz. In Mrs. Diodati's class, Fiona Bills. In Mrs. Willis's class, Madeline Lee. In Mr. Condell's class, Sienna Fry. And in Mrs. Zahner's class, Braden Davis. Great job to all of these students. Keep up the great work being respectful.
Now from the students from Miss Johnson's reading and math classes. From her 3rd grade math class, we have Lincoln Ward. From her 4th grade math class, Kara Petway. And from her 5th grade math class, Mia Galvin. Now from Miss Johnson's 3rd grade reading class, Katie Mitchell. From her 4th grade reading class, Ruby Richard. And from her 5th grade reading class, we have Kingston Fox Torres. Congratulations to all our respectful students.
This is a great list of respectful people. When you need a reminder of what it means to be respectful, keep an eye on them and see how they respond to situations. Thank you for letting us join you guys. We'll see you next month.
So there you go.
I was on mute.
Yeah,
That's fantastic. Yeah, that's so cool. And so when you put these videos out, you send them to the classes, or how do the students get to see this?
Yeah, I send them to Dr. H out of
Okay.
Vineyard. She gets them out to her teachers, and then they just air them individually in their classes as it fits in that first week of the month.
Can you imagine these little kids when they hear their name, like just the excitement that they get?
Yeah, and so the real thing we'd love to do is to not do them on video. I mean, it's great for the community to see and that sort of stuff, and maybe we'll still do that. But we really want to take our kids out there and have them pop in and say, "It's you."
Yeah, no, that's so cool.
So we'll see. Mike, we do something like that with. Do I got a second to tell you another story or no?
No, I was just gonna say we could live stream it. That'd be fun.
Ooh. Yeah, we'd have to fall between 7 and 9 though.
Right. Yeah. Well, I'm not saying I would you guys could live stream it.
Okay. Yeah, that's true. One thing we do with Link Crew, that's our group that really is there to help the freshman transition. In a normal year, if we can remember back to that, when everyone was on campus, we would recognize a freshman of the month, and my Link Crew leaders would walk into their class in the middle of class and bring them breakfast from Joe's Place, and then share with them the things that teachers have been saying about them that make them stand out in front of their peers. What a great blessing. But with us not being on campus, we had to come up with a plan B, which really turned out awesome, because what we did was we would still, figure out who that kid is, but then we would jump into the teacher's Zoom class, and the teacher would say, "Hey, we see we got some guests, what are you guys here for?" And then we would explain, "Hey, we're here to, recognize a student who has really gone above and beyond," and then, give some accolades about that person, some examples. But then, since we can't bust into their class, we would tell the teacher, and we're about to knock on their door. And then, the kid's like, "Oh my gosh, who is it?" And then all of a sudden they hear a knock on their own door.
That's cool.
And then they get up, answer the door, and we're there with, a special treat from In-N-Out or a something. So being away from campus, which is, fortunately coming to an end here next week, but we've had to kind of adjust but it's been good. It's caused us to be creative, and we're happy to have this connection now with Vineyard, and we will continue to, try to foster those connections with the other schools, because we love doing stuff with the middle school too.
No, I think, yeah, if it's done anything for the students, it's shown them that, when things aren't necessarily going as planned, the ability to make adjustments and adapt,
Right.
some positive can come from that, right? And what is it? Out of chaos brings something, creativity, or there's some really famous saying that I should know and give credit to somebody for saying it, but
Out of
something-
lemons come lemonade.
it's something, yeah, exactly.
Glass is always half empty.
Yeah.
It's always half full as well. Yeah.
Hey, I want to do. Can we give away a Wingman shirt right now?
You bet. I already
let's-
gave one away to you, didn't I?
What? Yeah, I want to do a trivia question.
Do it.
We've got part two, take two of Brent Poppin coming on at 8:15. I'm going to give Brent. We've got a lot of time with him this morning to really dive into his story, hopefully with a better connection. And so, but we have a little time. I know you have to wrap up and get going. So I do want to give a shirt away while I still got you. Hold up that shirt again. The white or the white shows up better on the screen, but show both of them.
Okay. So here's the white.
That's cool.
Yeah. And then here's the green.
Ooh.
And we do love our wingman.
Yes. All right. So here's it's a trivia question. It's a little segment that I'm going to call Templeton Trivia, the game where you can Google the answer and no one will know. Okay. So if you want to, the first one to put in the chat the right answer, let me see if I can get the chat on the screen with us. Let's see.
Now, Mike,
right.
let me, while you're struggling with this, let me ask you, there is only one right answer?
There is only one right answer. The questions are multiple choice. And the first person to put the correct letter of the answer into the chat is going to win a Wingman t-shirt. Okay.
And I know that I've heard, I don't know if this is true, that 173% of things that you read on the internet are true.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I found that on the internet.
For sure. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. So let's see here. Okay. Let's go. In what year did a fire destroy most of the original downtown buildings in Templeton?
Ooh.
Was it 1942, A, B, 1738, C, 1898, or D, 2020? Again, in what year did a fire destroy most of downtown Templeton? The original buildings. A, 1942, B, 1738, C, 1898, or D, 2020.
Oh, we got one answer in.
All right. Christine Ames says 1898. Do we have a bell sound effect? Ding, 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 ding. That's it. Christine, you win the first Wingman shirt.
That is awesome. So we're gonna need a size color.
Yeah,
So
Christine, DM me your size requirement, your color requirement. You got green or white to choose from. Now everybody's coming in with the answers. So the chat, it must be delayed here.
One requirement is to have fast internet.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, look at the participation though. Let's do one more. Let's just do one more.
Are we giving your shirt away?
We'll give my shirt away. Perfect.
Okay.
All right, ready? Here we go. Okay. Templeton's original name. Ben Swan says, how many buildings were there in Templeton in 1898? 3? Yes.
Wow.
Let's go. Okay. Templeton's original name was supposed to be A, Templeton, B, Crocker, C, Atascadero, or D, Paso Robles? Templeton's original name was supposed to be A, Templeton, B, Crocker, C, Atascadero, or D, Paso Robles? B, Crocker. Ben Swan gets a Wingman shirt.
Oh, look, Christina's trying to go with a double right there.
Yeah, it's one shirt. One shirt. That's awesome. All right, so Ben, message me with the color you want and the size. Christine says Crocker, but I'll bow out. LOL. Yes. All right, so Ben's got good internet service. I might have to do the show from his house next week.
There you go.
That's awesome. All right, well, Mr. Mack, thanks again for being with us today on the Thursday edition of the Morning Buzz.
Yeah, and I was thinking, Mike, maybe one requirement if you win a shirt is that you have to take a picture of you in the shirt and send it to the Morning Buzz so you can post winners.
That's a great idea. Yeah, I like that. I think it has to be a requirement.
I'm betting Ben Swan's probably, when he wears it, he's probably gonna face paint too.
I think so. Yeah.
He's gonna have the war stripes going.
That's awesome.
All right, Mike. Hey, thanks so much.
Thank you.
Yeah, we got just a reminder. We got tennis scheduled for today. Undefeated, 7-0 girls tennis team. They are on the road at Santa Maria, and tomorrow we got cross country also on the road at Santa Maria. A little different race tomorrow because at Santa Maria they are doing it a straight track run, 3-mile track run instead of normally through campus or through a park or whatever. So we'll see how that goes. But good luck to those teams. And then swim is up Saturday. Dive and swim Saturday.
So real quick, do you know why they're running just on the track?
To be honest, I don't. Santa Maria has, obviously it's COVID related in some form or fashion. They have limited, like our tennis team is playing both matches down there instead of one at home, one on the road. So they have just said that this is what their school is comfortable with doing. And if you want to participate, this is how we're going to, in their mind, for their school and their community, that's what they want to do. So we can honor that. And
for sure.
It's not what our runners are used to running. But you know what? It's another challenge of a challenging year. So
yeah, no,
makes us stronger.
Well, that's interesting. Yeah. Well, everybody's got, everything on their end, what they're doing to make sure that they give their community the best options possible to keep everyone safe.
Right.
So it makes sense.
Awesome.
All right, Mr. Mack, thank you so much for being on today.
Thank you.
Tomorrow you're on again. We're going to talk tomorrow. What we haven't done is talk any baseball yet. So
baseball. Okay.
I heard the rosters are set.
Yeah.
I've got my baseball sweatshirt on
today.
Sweet. Yeah. I got to get Coach Tompkins in at some point to talk about Templeton Eagles baseball. So maybe we can tease some baseball, and maybe I can text him and try to get him to join us tomorrow.
Absolutely. Cool. If you want to do that, but I will have information for you about baseball because I do love watching our baseball team play.
Yeah, for sure. Oh, okay. And we also have, I'll get into, I'll let you go. So I can talk more about.
Is this a secret or what? Yeah.
No, I was just going to say, we also have the athletics boosters are going to be represented on the show tomorrow. So they're going to come in and talk about. Ben is saying if we let him in the stadium, he'll paint his face. And you know what, Ben, we will absolutely let you in the stadium. I will personally, when I assign the time slot of you working in the snack bar. So there's plenty of volunteer opportunities for anyone that wants to be in a position to catch some of the game.
Or if he wants to come like today at noon, we could probably walk him down to the stadium if he'd like, as long as he's wearing a mask.
Just walk around it. Yeah, there you go. Perfect. Yeah. Awesome.
Okay. Thanks, Mike.
All right. Thanks, Mr. Mack.
You bet. All righty.
All right, we always love having Mr. Mack in. He's just a phenomenal teacher for our students, a leader on the campus that just gives our kids all kinds of great opportunities to do fun things, creative things, that help with the school spirit, help with the camaraderie and the positivity on campus. Thanks, Ben. You're great too. I appreciate that. So we have Brent Poppin going to join us here in about 5 minutes or so. I'm going to play another video. You guys, we watched the Respect one. We watched the rodeo video, which was awesome. I think that's pretty cool. Last year, I got to be a part of a video that the kids put together called Game Day, and this was a video that represented really, what Templeton Eagles football game day is like. Now, disclaimer: obviously, this is not what game day is going to be like this year. However, I think we're going to create a new, different, normal game day for us this year, just adapting to the environment and the new reality. And so this is let me turn the chat off here, and this is the game day video.
Game days are special at Templeton High. It's really about so much more than just the game. The game becomes an event, one that impacts not just the athletes, but the fans, the school, and the entire community. Tradition, spirit, community. Those are three important parts to our game day. Allow us to explain what we mean.
In the morning on game day, students fill in the B-Wing Hall and do the Eagle Clap.
2, 3.
It's part of game day, and it's also a part of showing our school spirit and what it means to be an Eagle and a Wingman.
School spirit and the game day experience go way beyond the walls of the high school. The entire community, the businesses up and down Main Street, we all wear our green and white to support the Eagles. School spirit, victories, yeah, those are all great things, but the game day experience impacts our community way more than that. In fact, it's our chance as a community to come together and be a part of something much larger.
Tailgates are an important part of our high school culture. Students from all grades and groups come together to eat, to spend time together, and to get ready for the game. This bringing together of different groups is important to our school. We are all Eagles. Tailgates are not only to get ready for the game, but to also build our friendships.
Right after school, our players head over to the McPhee's restaurant here in town for one of the best places to eat in Templeton. For years, our players have enjoyed the pregame meal of a tri-tip, mashed taters, and a side salad to give them the energy they need to perform at the highest level. We love our community and all they do to support our schools.
As the game day is getting closer, it's time to paint up. Glitter and face paint are an essential part to every game day. As our boys are getting ready for their battle, we are painting up. Some wear a T, some wear a number, some wear something completely different. But no matter what, we do it for our boys.
Long before our players take the field, our veteran barbecuers are preparing for the traditional Templeton tri-tip sandwiches that will be sold in the snack shack that night. Some of those preparing the food have been doing it for over 20 years. They are grill masters. The smell, the sound, the taste, it's all a part of the tradition.
Our boys run through the human tunnel every home game. It reminds our players that we're there with them. Total support.
As the boys enter the field, the wingmen are always there with the flag tunnel. As Eagles, they go hard, they go fast, and no matter what, they push ahead. It also announces to our crowd that the boys are here.
The national anthem is an important part of game day. It reminds our fans of something bigger than ourselves, of our history and the people that came before us. And especially when we pair it with the flyover, it really touches our hearts.
We run the flags up and down our stadium every time we score. We do so to remind us that there are ups and downs in every game and that nothing comes easy. Every wingman's ready to grab a flag and run up the stairs. It is an honor and a tradition.
Each time we score, one of our wingmen is pushed up onto our wingman board to do push-ups, one for each point that we have on the scoreboard. The crowd counts off each push-up. Each time it is a different wingman. It reminds our players that even though we can't be on the field with them, we are in the crowd supporting them. By the way, our team scores a lot. First home game was almost 70 points.
Of course, our cheer team has a huge role to play to getting the crowd fired up. They do a great job with our crowd. One of the things we love most is watching them perform with cheerleaders from the elementary schools. Incorporating our youngest Eagles in our game night is a tradition. Seeing them perform together is so sweet. It's great for the crowd, but just as important for the lives of our young Eagles. Memories they'll never forget.
Our band is always there at the game, there to liven up and bring energy to the crowd. And their halftime performances keep the crowd entertained and engaged. It is not a surprise that they win a lot of awards. We love our band and all that they bring to the game.
Game days here are really special. It's about the game, but it's also about our players, our students, and our entire community. It impacts us all because it involves us all. See what I mean? Wings up.
Man, I love watching that video. I've seen it a few times over the last year, and every time I see it, it just it makes me just super proud to be a part of the community, but also thankful that my children are also a part of the Eagles and the community that is created here by everybody involved. And so while game day is gonna be a little different this year, it's not gonna be any different for these kids being able to figure out how to adapt to adversity and make the best of a situation. And so if we've shown anything in the last year, we've shown that that's absolutely what we can do as a community. And so and you know, somebody that is very near and dear to my heart personally is somebody who is the ultimate spokesperson for adapting to adversity and making the best of a situation that does not go as planned, and you know, overcoming obstacles to create even a better reality than anyone could imagine possible. And so Brent Poppin is now joining me. Brent, we're gonna try, this is take two. Can you hear me?
Take two. Yeah, I'm good on my end.
Awesome. I'm good on my end too. This is the interview that I wanted to have happen on Monday, but you know, Monday was a trial run, and we have a better sound quality, better internet on my end today, which is gonna make for more people being able to really get your message and understand your story. So as I've said before, I met Brent through a very inopportune mishap a couple of years ago when my son got in an accident and was airlifted out to Children's Hospital in Madera. This dude in a wheelchair rolls into his room and he says, "Hey, I'm Brent. I'm supposed to visit Noel." And so that's how we met Brent. And he is just one of those dudes that lights up the room that he comes into, and everybody wants to be his best friend, and his best friends want to beat the crap out of him. So, that's what Heather.
That's about right.
That's what Heather says, anyways. Heather's proud. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
that sounds about what Heather would say.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, she told me that the other day. Actually, she said, "I just want to punch him in the face."
I know, that's so funny. And coming from her, that is a huge term of endearment.
That's awesome. Fantastic. All right, so Brent, talk about you know, we're talking about adversity, high school sports, a new reality, you know, all of this changing and adapting that we've had to do as a community and really as a country in the last year. go back to square one with you. Paint the picture of what little Brent Poppin looked like growing up in Southern California.
Before we get started, can I just give one quick shout out?
Please.
I know room 209 at Kermit King Elementary is watching your podcast right now. So they're getting ready to do some diagnostic testing, and they wanted to check in and see me on the podcast. So I just want to tell those kids, do your best. Super proud, super excited that kids are back in classrooms now at some extent where they should be with teachers. So I just want to give room 209 a little love from me to a local classroom. So super excited. Do your best today, guys, and we'll see you next fall in person.
All right. Good luck, 209. What's Kermit King's mascot?
They're a frog.
All right. Go Frogs. Thanks for watching.
Yeah. Thank you.
Good deal. Very cool.
Yeah. So for me, I grew up in Long Beach, Southern California. Grew up a baseball kid, and spent my whole life in one house down there, playing baseball at Stearns Park. Then going up to high school at Milliken High School, that is pretty prestigious for baseball. Thought I kind of had my life planned out a little bit. Thought I'd be playing baseball at Long Beach State, being a dirtbag. Which every kid wants to be in Long Beach when you play baseball in Long Beach. Playing on Blair Field, we play on all these all-star teams growing up on this big diamond, and you just can't wait to be part of the college atmosphere and playing as a college athlete. And so I felt like my life was heading in that trajectory. And then on February 18th, 1990, when I was a junior in high school, we went up to a place called Hume Lake, which is up in the Fresno Mountains. And it was just our youth group with my church. Had nothing to do with sports. We just went up there to kind of make our circle of friends a little bit bigger. I think there was 1,000 kids or 800 kids from around the state there. Met a kid I didn't know from a different high school. We hit it off, two athletes, and we just decided on a whim that we were going to goof off, do what boys do, and we were going to fake wrestle, a little WWF. And it was just a freak accident. I picked the kid up. We fell over wrong. He landed on my neck. It kind of pinched it and caught it in a funky way and ended up bending my spinal cord up at the cervical level 5, 6, and 7, which is what created the paralysis that started from the shoulders down.
And so you were instantly paralyzed.
Yeah, and even when I'm still in touch with some of my high school friends. And when we get together, we talk a little bit about it. The way I felt wasn't reality. Like my memory is laying on my side, not being able to feel any part of my body. I never felt any pain, but I just felt like everything was numb, and I knew I couldn't move anything. And I felt like I was like on my shoulder, tucked up in a ball. But my friends that were there, I was laid out on my back with my hands wide open. So even what I remember isn't the reality that happened.
Wow. And so in the moments right when it happened, the kids around you, your friends,
Yeah, I think it's tough. I don't think you ever plan on seeing your friend has sustained a spinal cord injury. But I think the way I remember it and the way I was told, everything, they got to the staff right away. But we were up in the mountains. It was February 18th. The roads were closed. It was snowing. So there wasn't easy access. You couldn't get a life flight in. You couldn't get a helicopter in. And it took a while for medical care to get up the hill, the medical care that I needed. And then my folks got a phone call when I finally got to the hospital back down in Long Beach where they were at, saying that your son sustained a spinal cord injury. He's paralyzed from the neck down, and he's never going to walk again. And so there's a short documentary on my life on YouTube, and it interviews my mom and dad getting that initial phone call and what they felt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, as a parent, getting that phone call, obviously the outcome was quite different on our end, but that phone call is a phone call that a parent never wants to get, and I can only imagine.
Yeah, I think the hard part was being, so far away. On a perfect day, you're, maybe 4.5, 5 hour trip to where I was. But with the Grapevine being closed, that got extended out to, almost double what it would have took. And I'm not a parent, but I can imagine those hours, that you went through or my folks went through must seem like days, and you just can't get to your baby fast enough, kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and so after the accident, you're in the hospital. There's some surgeries. You're transported back to Long Beach? Is that what happened?
Yeah, my folks got up to me, after whatever it was, 8, 9, 10 hours, and they were able to arrange a life flight from where I was at up in the Fresno area back down to Southern California to Long Beach Memorial, where I could be closer to my peer group and my friends and my support group. And they arranged that flight, got me down there within a day or two. And that's when I started my rehab down in Southern California. And again, our family didn't, we didn't have any friends in a wheelchair. I never had anyone come talk to me in a class like what I do to students now. So we just didn't know what was possible. So for us, everything just seemed like we were looking at a dark tunnel and everything was negative. There's going to be no more sports. There's going to be no more driving. Who's going to want to marry a guy in a wheelchair? How am I going to go to college? So I think we initially, my family probably felt like they lost hope of what my future could be.
And looking back, obviously, you guys got through it and persevered and all of that. But can you remember the time? Like, what was the time frame? Was it a couple years that it took for all of you guys to, or did everybody go through their own separate, quote unquote, grieving or new norm process? Like, what was that time frame like?
Yeah, I think everyone goes through their own processing at their own time. I've been at Children's Hospital for 10 years, so I went through it personally, and then I've been able to see it from a different perspective, and I feel like it's still the same. As a kid, we just want to play. We just want to get through it. I was already an athlete's mentality, so they just had to point me in the right direction. And for me, it started off with just my finger moving. And if that's all I could do, I was going to do it all day. Mm-hmm. And slowly, as my shoulders and my arms came back, I just had that drive. I had a huge peer support. I had great family support that were always there to pick me up from when I fail. But I think as kids, the ones going through the initial process, I think we go through it faster than what my family did or my friends did. And for me, when I'm working with families now, it's with the spinal cord injury, and unfortunately we've had too many of them recently, but it's about a 2-year arc until, there's some that do really well before that and some that take a little bit longer, but it's about that 2-year bell curve before you really start feeling confident and comfortable in your new surroundings.
And I would imagine that it's extremely tough on marriage for parents to go through this because they are individuals that have their own process. And so if those processes aren't synced up, but I don't know if you want to answer this, but your parents stayed together through this?
Yeah, my family stayed together. My family's background is farming, old school, boots on the ground, get dirty and just get after it and come together as a family, in different ways. My dad's not the most vocal guy. My mom and my sister are completely different than that, but everybody showed their support and their love in a different way. And we're always there to allow me to figure out what was possible and support me with the goals that I wanted to achieve.
You said your dad wasn't the most vocal, and then you followed that up by saying your mom and your sister are different. Is that your nice way of saying your mom and your sister are very outspoken?
Just more willing to lay their heart on the line.
Got it.
And I think I follow my mom's path there, where I kind of wear my heart on my sleeve and am willing to verbalize how I'm feeling.
Sure. Well, that's great. And that obviously helps you with all of the kids that you coach and mentor and support on a daily basis, being able to connect with them emotionally like that.
Yeah, and people always ask, did I ever go through like a why me phase initially in the hospital? And I don't remember going through that. I'm sure I had some angry times, as a baseball kid who at the initial stages couldn't move any part of my body. I remember the doctor coming in and down in Long Beach and saying, we know you're a big baseball player, Brent, and you wanted to play college baseball. But I'm always going to be honest with you. And where we are right now with science, I don't think you're going to walk again. And I don't think you're going to throw a baseball again. And I remember just feeling like I don't know which is worse. You know what I mean? I didn't know anybody in a chair, but I've seen people in wheelchairs. I know they exist in the world, but I couldn't imagine not being able to get back on the mound or pick up a baseball and chuck a baseball to a friend again. So that was kind of the tough part for me. But I remember being in rehab before I got discharged and just feeling like I was in a Y in my life. I came to a crossing and I could either go one way and be angry and choose not to do my best and go down a dark road, or I could take the other route and just put everything I have into life, be inspired with what I have, work to what I don't have, and try to make the world a better place for the kids coming up behind me.
Yeah, it's easy to say that that's how somebody would react, right? But for you to actually do that and put that in practice and in place,
yeah,
it just shows the type of mentality and person you are. And so, what brought you to the Central Coast? How did you end up here?
Yeah, first of all, I feel blessed to be up here. Like everyone says, once they are able to get up here. My folks had been coming up to the Mid-State Fair for years. I mean, when I was just still in middle school, I can remember my folks meeting people up here, staying at the Paso Robles Inn. I never came up with them. It was an adult trip for them. But I remember them talking about the fair and all the concerts and the fair food. And then after I got hurt, my dad worked for Atlantic Richfield for Arco at that time, now BP. But he worked in the refinery. And after I got hurt, he had been there almost 30 years. And so he retired out, and they were looking at different places to retire. And they wanted to stay within a certain radius of Long Beach so that my sister and I would have an easy trip to go visit them, or they could visit us. And they looked at a bunch of different places, and Paso Robles was the last place on their list to look, and they thought that they were actually going to retire in Avila, I believe. And then when my mom came to Paso and they went up to Heritage Ranch, she just felt like this was the place where we need to be, and this is where my family will all end up. So that was, 27, 28 years ago when, Paso was a small town.
Yeah.
And her vision came right. My folks have been up here ever since. Me and Erica and I are up here. My mom's 3 sisters were up here. My 2 uncles are up here. Erica's mom's up here. So this was my mom and dad's retirement is what brought everybody to this community, because once we came up here and started visiting, we just fell in love with Paso.
Yeah, it's the hills, the oaks. I mean, it's just a magical place, right?
Yeah, and then Erica and I were I didn't know Erica before my injury. My wife now, who teaches 2nd grade at Kermit King. We started dating. We were both going to Long Beach State, and she finished her education before I did. And she always wanted to be a teacher. She knew that from when she was little. And once we got up here, or once she got her college education, we just kind of said, "Hey, do you want to teach in Southern California, or do you want to pack up and roll to Paso and start our life up there and start teaching up there?" And so we came up here, made the jump. and we've loved it ever since.
That's great. What year were you married?
We got married August 1st, 1998.
Wow.
And then we moved. I moved up here in January '99, and she came up in May of '99. So we definitely have our roots here, and just feel very fortunate to be part of this community.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And so she's working full time at Kermit King as a second grade teacher, and you're pretty much on the road full time, either doing some speaking, doing a wide variety of, from the outside looking in, it looks like R&D. You do a lot of research and development with different things, relating to sports primarily, right? Surfing, wakeboarding. You designed a baseball glove. Talk through some of those things, those extracurricular things, and then I want to get into your speaking and your
sure
work. But yeah, tell me about what you're doing with all the R&D stuff.
Yeah, for me, it kind of started with me wanting to be a teacher. I finished my education at Vandenberg Air Force Base. There was a satellite Chapman University up there. Got my emergency teaching credential. Started teaching. And it was that moment where the kids really started asking about my life and what am I doing? And I saw how inspired they were from my story. And that led me to doing more substituting in different schools, and then teachers having me come in and speaking to kids. And then it kind of clicked that I need to continue to raise the bar of what's possible. So when I get a chance to speak in front of kids, I can show them what's possible when you're not afraid to fail. And so I just took every little inspiration I had of things I couldn't do that I wanted to do, and just went after them. And some of them were inspired from the students that I speak to. And the first one that you brought up was my throwing prosthetic. And with my disability, I can't close.
Hold that back up for a minute. Let's just take a look at it.
So it actually goes around the baseball and allows me to hold the baseball. So I would slide it onto my hand.
What's it made out of?
It's
like
made out of
soft rubber.
No, it's made out of plastic.
Okay.
Some of the same plastics that we do prosthetics with for our kids. And so that if I have a baseball, of course I dropped it. The baseball would slide in there and allow me to hold the baseball without being able to close my hand.
Sure.
And then once I throw the baseball, it just comes out with its own energy. I don't have to open it up at all. But it started with, I was speaking to a class down in Newport, and we were doing a big Q&A at the end of the speaking session, and a kid raised his hand up in the right-hand corner. I can still remember who he was. He said, "Hey, Mr. Poppin, I have a question for you. You've been on our campus for 3 days. We love riding in your sport wheelchairs, wearing your Olympic medal, reading your books." He goes, "But if I had the power as a 6th grade student to give you 1 hour for 1 day to be 100% able-bodied, Mr. Poppin, you're back to the way you were before your injury for 1 hour for 1 day, what do you do?" I thought that was a pretty profound question, and it didn't take me long to answer. I said, I'd pitch a college baseball game. and some of the teachers came down and said, like, you wouldn't slow dance with your wife at her wedding? And I said, you know what? It didn't even hit my radar. I'd want to throw a baseball again. And the kid raised his hand up. He stood up. He goes, "Do it, Mr. Poppin." He said, "I don't think it's impossible. I just don't think you figured it out yet."
Wow.
And I'd never lost that in my brain. That kid was going through my mind for a month or two when I was at Children's Hospital. And I just thought, man, if this kid believes it's possible, we need to make it possible. Mm-hmm. So I started to draw some different prosthetics up on paper, got some people involved through our hospital. We started doing R&D, and started to figure out, like, hey, this has a chance to work. Our prosthetic guy at the hospital that does it for our kids got involved. He was inspired. And it took about a year, and we filmed it all, and that's on YouTube too. But we filmed all the failures that allowed it to become a reality because we didn't give up on it.
Jeez, that's incredible.
And then the way that snowballs is, when I was speaking, I would always end my presentations, whether I was talking to a group of kids or I was talking to a group of professionals, we'd bring up the baseball story and talk about what's possible. Then I'd put the prosthetic on and I would throw my glove into the crowd and I would throw the baseball, and then the people would catch it and everybody, loses their mind. And I was doing that down at a Los Alamitos school at Lee Elementary. And this 4th grade girl, Courtney, came up to me a couple days after I was on campus. And she said, "Hey, Mr. Poppin, you picked me to throw the ball to on the first day. Do you remember that?" I go, "Yeah, I remember who you are, Courtney." And she said, "I think it's really rad, Mr. Poppin, that you have that prosthetic that lets you hold and throw the baseball." She said, "But if your left hand only does this, how do you squeeze a baseball glove to catch a baseball?" And I said, "Well, right now I don't. I guess I'm waiting for somebody to design me a glove." I didn't ask her to do it. I just kind of fed the seed out there a little bit. And 2 days later, I got a phone call from this kid's mom who called the school and got my phone number. And she said, "Hey, Brent, I'm Courtney's mom. You talked to her at my school. She came home. She hasn't stopped talking about you. She told me about knocking people over in a wheelchair. She wore your medal. She read your books. Something about you could throw a baseball, but you can't catch a baseball. She wants to build you a glove." And I'm like, "Yeah, she pretty much got my life right there all packaged up." And she goes, "Well, what do you think?" I go, "Well, I think you should let your daughter build me a glove." So her mom made it her STEM project for the year and bought her multiple gloves for her to tear up. And the final design she came up with about a year later. The mom called me and said, "Hey, Brent, I think Courtney got your glove down. Would you come down and play catch with her?" So I drove down the next weekend, and the glove that she brought out was her glove, but it had this design where she drilled through the glove and then weaved a cord in a particular pattern so the ball just goes through the cord but doesn't come out.
Wow. How old's the girl that designed this?
Well, the cool part back then, she was only a 4th grader.
That's incredible.
And so I thought that was pretty amazing. And then the powerful part of that story is, not only that I could throw a baseball and catch a baseball again, but this was just last year, right before the pandemic shut down. She called and said, hey, Brent, I want to do that glove project bigger. I want to make this glove available to kids that play in the Challenger League, kids that have a mental disability and a physical disability, but are playing baseball at Little League. And if they don't have the ability to catch a ball, I want to do this for my Girl Scout project. She goes, "But I'm having a hard time getting a hold of the right people." And I go, "Well, I can make a few phone calls for you." So I got a hold of the right people in Long Beach. They loved it. They got involved. They gave her all the gloves she could have. She went home and designed all the gloves. And then on opening day, I threw out the first baseball to her at the Little League with the challengers out there. And then she gave all these gloves away to these kids.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
That's wild.
So for me, it's just the power of the story. And then also having their parents and their support group, when these kids go home and are inspired, to have these parents back them up and feed that inspiration. Because, this girl is going to be the one that ends up designing a prosthetic that allows me to walk again.
Yeah.
Or builds the shuttle that goes to the moon. And it's up to us to give those kids that mental vision that they could break down any barriers and believe in what's not possible.
And at some point, when we become adults, we start to lose sight of the impossible being possible, right?
Right.
Yeah, something makes us lose our imagination, and I don't know if it's just lack of time to sit there and really focus on it, or we just get so defeated by all of our failures time and time again that we just finally throw up our hands. But
And I think that's what I'm afraid of, which is why I'm always willing to push the limits and do these projects and do these different designs. And now we're doing this, we're having kids designing me a baseball bat so that I could have a baseball bat, and I'll go back to the schools and play baseball with the kids and have a full baseball game with them, or a surfing project, or all the different stuff that I'm involved in. For me, it's a little bit selfish that I get to have all these cool things to play with, but the bigger picture for me is having these real life stories and being very tangible for not just my kids at Children's Hospital who are going through difficult things, but the 20 or 30,000 kids I get to speak to a year, that they get that true story of being inspired and believing in what's possible.
So I put, while you were talking about the glove, I put the link to your YouTube channel.
Oh, great.
In the chat. There's adult content in there, I see, also about paralysis and sex, right? Talking about your fertility journey. Is that you?
No, that's a different Brent. On my YouTube channel, there's nothing that's not kid friendly. But there is somebody else that has my name out there, or very close to my name. But if you just go to YouTube and search my name, Brent Poppin, and threw up disability behind it, or baseball, or something like that, it'll give you to the right channel.
Got it. Okay, cool. Very cool.
Or if somebody wants it and they send me a link or send me a message on Facebook, I'll send them the direct link as well.
Perfect. Okay. Very cool. Fantastic. So you're speaking to 20, 30,000 kids a year.
Yeah, super blessed. The pandemic had a big effect on that, with either kids not being on campuses, and now where they're coming back, the initial stage, there's a lot of protocol and they're following CDC guidelines. But I see we're kind of planning for the fall that everything's going to go back to close to normal, and I'll have a chance to be back traveling again and being on campuses. We've done some Zoom stuff recently, and we're going to do some more in April. But for me, it's just not the same impact as being in person, eye to eye with these kids, being able to give them a high five or a hug. There's definitely a different message that's involved when you're in person.
Sure. Yeah, and so what is the extent of your in-person activities? You're at Children's Hospital Madera, so you're able to be in person, one-on-one with families and patients. Talk through what you do over there.
Yeah, I've been at Children's Hospital for 10 years, and it just started with me volunteering. When we first moved to Paso, I sent out just a letter, a one page of who I am, a bio. I didn't apply for any jobs. Just sent it out to like a 2.5, 3 hour radius of where I'd be willing to drive to work with our youth that are going through something difficult. I went to a different couple places and just didn't feel like home to me. And a couple years later, I got a random phone call from Children's Hospital that said, "Hey, Mr. Poppin, we still have this bio on you. We don't have a job position for you, but we have a kid going through paralysis with a gunshot, and he's having a hard time, and we can't break through. Would we come talk to him?" And I said, absolutely. At that time, I was substitute teaching in Paso, so I had a very flexible schedule. So I just started driving to Children's Hospital in Madera and just volunteering, and that just kept getting busier and busier. And then after 5 years, somebody on the team walked into a budget office and said, "Hey, we're not going to take advantage of Brent anymore. If we don't find him an office and money, we're not going to invite him back, because he's been doing this for 5 years. He never asked for money. He never asked for a hotel room. He never asked for gas. He just comes and does his thing and leaves. And we think that he's invaluable, and we want him part of the team." And thankfully, Dr. Crocker at that time, our lead physiatrist who runs the rehab unit, was on board with it. All the other team members, PT, OT, speech, all the different people were involved. Supported it, and I got a phone call saying, if you want to come interview for your job, we're going to give you an office and money. And I jumped at it. And initially, it's a 250-mile commute, and they were worried about that. And I said, hey, if I'm inspired and this team is what I think it is, I will have no problem doing that commute. And here we are 10 years later. My official title is peer counselor in rehab. But as you've personally experienced, I try to do a lot more than that. Especially when I hear, and unfortunately it hasn't just been your son, but anytime I hear that we have a kid from the Central Coast over at Children's Hospital, no matter if they happen to be in oncology or in ICU or going through a major surgery of what your boy had to go through, I'll always make time in my schedule to go visit them and support the family and support the kid any way I can.
Yeah, I mean, you gave us the royal treatment. Aside from the fact that you tried to make my kid a Steelers fan, everything else you did was amazing.
Yeah, well, and your boy,
he was drugged up, but he wasn't that drugged up. Okay,
that's pretty funny. But your boy was just one of those kids that reminded me a lot of me. A different disability, obviously, but just had that drive and that spirit in him, where we just had to support him and almost put the brakes on him. He wants to do so much so fast. And unfortunately, not every kid has that same drive, that same support system that your boy had, and that I was fortunate to have. And those are the kids that break my heart and really are my inspiration to going to Children's, knowing, especially during this pandemic, there's even tighter protocol at the hospital where the kids can't have their friends in there. They can't have, they're only allowed usually one family member. So it's even tougher for them going through these difficult times and not having the support they would normally have. So I think our team is what's inspiring to me. Our team fills that void. We become that mom or that dad or that brother for those kids during that time.
Yeah, because you don't think about the minutes and hours that are passing where it feels like an eternity in that hospital, and these kids in a lot of instances are alone, right?
Yeah.
And so
it takes me back to being when I was 16 going through it. During the day our kids are pretty busy. Doctors are coming in, they're doing therapy, they're doing PT and OT, and they're walking, they're pushing their wheelchairs, they're getting x-rays. I mean, there's a lot going on. And then, dinner time comes, 6 o'clock comes, everything just shuts down and gets pretty quiet in there. And that's when, either the parents, and or the kids, that time starts to slow down and your brain starts spinning a little bit when you have time to think about the challenges that you have to overcome in the near future.
Yeah. Yeah. And luckily on our end, you brought in the Rocky series. And so we watched Rocky for a couple of days and Noel was all about it. He loved that. Madera Valley Children's Hospital is literally the Disneyland of hospitals. It's an amazing place. It's top notch. And I'll make a confession. When we were airlifted by CHP to Sierra Vista, the doctor says, okay, we can send you to UCLA, Cottage, or Madera. And I made the mistake of judging, right?
Yeah.
And I said, Madera, what great doctor wants to live in Madera and Fresno? Why I don't want my kids? And the doctor says, trust me, you want your kid at Valley Children's. And Allison looks at me and she goes, you gotta listen to the doctor. And sure enough, like we I mean, we couldn't have been more fortunate to have been sent over there. You guys, I mean, it's just unbelievable what you guys can accomplish out there.
Yeah, and I think a lot of people have that same thought initially. And we do have an amazing facility, and we're doing all these. We're always building on it. We're always building these new things for kids and making it as fun as possible for the kids. But to me, it's really the staff. And I focus on rehab because that's where our family is down there. But our kids have direct access to us. I get text messages or phone calls from our kids if they're out here on the coast and they've ran into some problems. Our doctors have access to our kids. So I really feel like the special part about it is the bond that our team has with these kids. They definitely become family, and they come back to visit once a year. We do a big party for everybody, and so we stay in contact with these kids. I end up going to their high school and middle school graduations. And so with the pandemic, and the Children's Hospital has been a big part of getting families vaccinated, not just our staff, but our extended families. So all these families and extended people in their lives that have never been to Valley Children's are now coming in to get vaccinated and walking around a little bit and seeing what this amazing place is. And I think they get a vibe for the spirit that's that the hospital represents.
Yeah, I actually I ended up connecting with the CEO on LinkedIn after my son's accident. I think his name's Todd Sunderpack. Yep. Is he still there?
Yep.
And just shot him a thank you note, and he responded to me within 24 hours. I mean, and leadership from the top down, right? I mean, it shows that his leadership trickles down and every level of staff at that place, all the way to the barista at the Starbucks on site. I mean, it's really cool.
It's humbling. And I can't even really put it into words, but I feel blessed every time I run my key card through the main door and it opens for me. Like, I have kids that ask me to come be with them at 11 o'clock at night if they're having a surgery or they're having an MRI and they're scared, and the parents can't be there. And so, whether I'm on the clock or not, the door's open for me, and I get to be there for those kids. So it's, and just a little insight on what makes it special. Like, the hospital just eats 100% of my salary. So, I don't bill out like a therapist or a psychologist or a doctor or a nurse, So the special part about it is the team, from our team all the way up to Todd, feels like what I do has a big enough impact where they're willing to just eat the cost of me being there. And I don't know of any other children's hospital that has a position like mine.
That's great.
So, and I wish there were more.
It sounds like there's an opportunity there to become a consultant for other hospitals.
Yeah, I think the tough part, just like you said earlier about when you're an adult, you don't always kind of see the light through the trees kind of thing. And I think it's hard for some doctors or some staff members to think like, we're going to create this position that's going to take a lot of work, it's going to take money, and they're not able to see the end result of what that impact was. And so fortunate, and just to give a more love to Children's Hospital, when I started going there, I just would, if I was working like 2 or 3 days in a row, I would just get a room in the cheapest part of Fresno. I would price line it for $30 or $40.
Sure.
And as long as I could see my car, I felt safe. And so I would just get a room at a very inexpensive hotel in a shady part of Fresno. And I was doing that for months. And then Dr. Crocker, our lead physiatrist, found out what I was doing. And she said, yeah, that's not going to work for me. Why don't you come spend the weekend with our family? You can meet my husband. He played football at KU. He's a big meathead. I'm sure you guys are going to get along.
Yeah.
I have 4 kids, and we'll just kind of see how you fit in with the family, and we'll make some decisions from there. So I just went out there, met the family, met the kids for a weekend, hit it off as Mr. Brent, and they ended up giving me a room at their home, and was able to start staying at their home multiple times a week when I needed to do back-to-back days at Children's Hospital. So
that's crazy.
It's not very often a doctor will open up their home to a new staff member that they didn't know, and allow them to become part of their family, and it's changed my life.
Well, and that's the type of doctor that you want with your child is a doctor with a heart like that, right?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. That's phenomenal. Hey, I'm going to have you back because I feel like, not only does everybody need to hear your story as much as possible, just the message that you have, just somebody posted in the comments, thanks for bringing Brent on your program. Incredibly inspiring. We all need this message. And so this is what the show, I want it to be all about, right? Is just positivity and motivation. And that's something that you exude with everything you do. And so I put your website down below. It's hugsbybrent.com. And on the site, I think you can order the books.
Yep.
We've got books available on Amazon. Let's see if I can share this screen here. Where is my screen share? There we go. Share.
Yeah, one is my autobiography, and one is a children's book, Grade Boy in a Wheelchair, starting at a new school. Yep.
Yeah, there it is. So it's hugsbybrent.com. So here's the books. There's also a link to the film that you were talking about of being able to create the contraption that helps you pitch the ball.
Yep.
That's on there. There's a bio on there. There's also some opportunities to book you. It looks like we can get a hold of you there.
For sure.
So cool.
And we're just finishing up a surfboard project. So the next time we're on, maybe that'll be complete, and we're putting together another short documentary about a second grade girl, first grade girl at the time, who had it in her mind that she wanted to design me a surfboard, and the surfboard community jumped behind this project. Yeah. And this little first grade girl has been going to surf shops and doing R&D and spending her time building me, shaping and sanding a surfboard for me. It's been a 2-year project, and we're getting close. We're getting close to finishing it and being in the water and catching some waves. So hopefully we come back, and next time we'll have that to share.
And are you going out in the ocean, or are you going over to Kelly Slater's place, or where are you doing this?
So I was fortunate enough I was actually the first adaptive surfer to surf his wave independently.
Yeah.
And that's what kicked this whole, again, it was somebody else supporting my life that allowed this all to come to fruition. So that I have surfed over in Lemoore. It's no longer Kelly's. It's now the World Surf League.
Did he sell it?
Yeah, he sold it.
Got it.
I mean, I don't know if he sold it, or I don't know all the financial stuff behind it, but it's now World Surf League, and they hold surfing competitions over there. But with the first board we designed, I got to go to Maui and surf with my buddy Sean over there at a surf shop. So we've been in the ocean, we've caught some waves, we learned from the first board, we've made some changes that this girl wanted to make, and so we'll be back in the water this spring or summer for sure, somewhere between Lemoore and Maui.
Wow. Yeah. So somewhere.
Yeah. We'll be videoing it and put it all together for the kids, and we'll be using that as another tool. Because when I'm in front of kids, for me, it's about being tangible. I bring my wheelchairs for the kids to play in, so they get a chance to play in my rugby chair. They get a chance to play in my tennis chair. They get to wear my Olympic medal. And now they'll get a chance to lay down on a surfboard and see what that feels like.
So cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, Brent, hugsbybrent.com. They can get a hold of you there. Obviously you're on Facebook and you're on YouTube, so they can find your stuff there as well. So again, I just want to thank you for the impact that you've had on my life personally, my son's life, my wife, my family, and the community. You know, there's not, well, there's one person that says bad stuff about you. That's Heather. But everyone else besides her, everybody loves you. So thank you so much for just being a positive light in our community and representing Paso on the Central Coast to those Valley people over there.
Yeah. Well, and thank you for stepping out and doing this project and bringing awareness and bringing some positivity to the community. I think that's what's special about you know, Templeton, Atascadero, Paso. We get behind our kids that need our extra love, and we have people like you that make that connection for us. So thank you.
Well, I appreciate those words, and as you're saying that, my internet is starting to clock down, which means it's 9:05 and the kids are online doing school. So hopefully people are able to hear us at this point, but who knows?
All right.
I'll say goodbye to you. Thanks, Brent. Have a great day. Appreciate your time.
All right. We'll see you again.
See ya.
All right.
All right. That's Brent Poppin. Brent, again, books or hugsbybrent.com. Yeah, he's definitely going to come back on the show and share more of his journey. We didn't go into the fact that he's a bronze medalist and rugby, and wheelchair tennis, all kinds of different things. And so Brent Poppin is just one of those amazing human beings that we are lucky to know in this life. And so that's the Thursday show. We did it. We got through it. It's the sun is peeking out. It's going to be high 50s today, mid 50s. Possibility of some scattered showers, but you know, we got to brave this weather for about another week or so, and then we're going to get back into the 70s, which is super exciting for me because I love warm weather. So thanks for joining me on the Morning Buzz this morning. We gave away shirts. We had some videos that popped in. Mr. Mack gave us some updates. We talked about rodeo and finished it with a strong session with Brent Poppin. So it will go up online. I'll be able to edit it together and drop it on the Morning Buzz Facebook page for you guys to check out. Again, if you guys need any of the information that I shared with you today, please feel free to DM the page, the Morning Buzz page on Facebook, and I could shoot you links to anything that I talked about today. That's it for me. I hope everybody has a great day. Stay positive, stay motivated, and just love each other. Talk to you guys later.